Okay, so first disclaimer. I really like Ultimate. It's a fun game. I have a lot of fun streaming it. I've been playing it 12 plus hours every single day, and when I go to bed, I still want to keep playing most of the time. I've uploaded 2 YouTube videos a day just to make people like see the game. I want melee players to give it an honest chance. The reason why I'm bringing up the 5 worst things and not the 5 best things is because this is a patch culture. We can patch everything. And so there's none of these problems that necessarily have to stay that way. They can all be fixed in an ideal world. I will be doing a second video on the 5 best things about Ultimate, but I figured with Ultimate sales numbers and, you know, the fact that you're even watching this stream or this video to begin with shows that you probably already bought it, probably already like it, so you don't need me to tell you why it's good. It's pretty obvious why it's good, but we'll still talk about some of those reasons later. All right, are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? All right, so to start off with, this is going to be a scene from a competitive standpoint. Oh, no spoilers. This is coming from someone that likes Melee a lot and thinks it has flaws, but it's overall the best games competitively. I did not like Smash 4, and so I will also try to refrain from talking about Smash 4 only mechanics, such as rage, some shield stuff, like things being safe, like general design philosophy that Smash 4 had. I will try not to hate on because it's very easy bait, and if they try to fix it at all, if they even went in the right direction, such as rage, which is still there but better, then I will not comment on it. We're also not talking about items, not single player modes or the lack thereof. That will be a future video, and we will not be talking about the horrible UI, menu, and character select systems, because oh my god, the fucking character select is terrible, but that's another video. And this one's already gonna be long. Okay, so first point, half-baked new mechanics. And so we're gonna go through these piece by piece. Parrying. I think parrying was the most hyped mechanic, and it still is a very hyped mechanic, and we don't know everything about it. Like, we have yet to see the full extent of how it will affect competitive play. However, I think it so far has felt incredibly disappointing and not really a suitable replacement to power shielding, especially against projectiles. When you parry a projectile, your opponent goes through no lag. The only thing that changes is that you lag for 2 extra frames and you can do anything out of it, such as a dash or an F smash. This doesn't really affect long range projectile camping, and in some matchups, I really feel like they needed to somehow make long range projectile camping more interesting. This is not a huge problem for the overall gameplay, like the projectile parrying, since a lot of characters get around projectiles decently easy, but it is a big problem more in the sense that I wish there were more to the parry mechanic. It doesn't feel like it's a great implementation, but I'm sure we'll see more about this. So this is just now my initial thoughts. I feel like parrying is not going to be nearly as big of a deal as people think, especially with multi-hits being very, very hard to parry. It not giving that much more frame advantage either, and the last and most important fact is that when you parry, you have to already be shielding to do it. Even if parrying is super good, you can always see that your opponent is first shielding and then letting go. Sometimes there won't be this time, right? But there's always a huge risk when parrying on a read, and basically I don't think the reward is worth it in many cases. Okay, second is directional air dodging. Now, I'm not going to sit here and complain that wave dashing is bad because, well, wave dashing is really bad and laggy. But I think everyone kind of knew that, and everyone's kind of gotten over it. I think it's fine to not have wave dashing when you have dash jabbing so fast. However, I do think it's kind of a half-baked mechanic. I don't really think air dodging to the edge as a recovery is a great mechanic. I don't necessarily think the game really benefits from having both directional air dodging and brawl air dodging. I just feel like they could have done a lot more about it, and especially allow you to waveland. Moving around platforms is already really fucking hard because they also removed shield dropping in this game for no apparent reason. They removed shield dropping while also adding the mechanic that if you hold both shield buttons, you can't spot dodge. This would have been the perfect opportunity to add shield dropping and make it easily available in every controller. But yeah, basically it's really hard to shield drop since despite the dash changes, you cannot dash and into drop through smoothly. See how laggy that is? I just think that wavelining would have been such a big help. You can waveline now, but it's really laggy and you can't slide off things. It would have been one of those things that wouldn't really hurt like casuals at all. Like they would not waveland, and it wouldn't hurt mid-level players stopping on casuals plays either, because they would just fuck up wave landing and not do much about it. It just makes the game more fun and more free, especially in such a floaty game. I think it could benefit from some platform like play compared to now, where it's going to be mostly grounded, but as soon as you enter the air or like go to any of the side platforms, it's basically Smash 4 again. It feels like moving on platforms is that hard. Second, it's walk through people and can't push people off the edge with while they're shielding. Now, these aren't huge problems. There are some niche mechanics. I don't think they break the game at all. Like, I'll only notice them sometimes, but when I do, it's almost always annoying and never, man, thank God they couldn't push me off the edge with shield. I'm pretty sure that pushing off shield is a new mechanic in Smash 4. I mean, it wasn't in Smash 4. So that you could still get pushed off when you were shielding Smash 4, right? You can get pushed off in Smash 4. Yeah, that's what I thought. Good. Just want to confirm that. Yeah, so you could get pushed off in Smash 4, and I think that worked a lot better. I really don't like the fact that you can't get pushed off. It basically means that when you stand up by the edge, like say ledge trapping, you can't get pushed off. It leads to some really silly shield breaks because you don't get pushed off, such as Ness up B charge. You can't get pushed off in Smash 4. Either way, I don't like it. Apparently you could not be pushed off in 4 either. I still don't like it. I think it's a really unnecessary change. As you can probably tell, I didn't play that much Smash 4, so this added with the no shield dropping again makes platform play on platforms really, really boring and really simple. Like, you're basically fucked if you shield on a platform. You have to jump. That's the only thing you can do. Next half-baked mechanic is some of the controls. So high sense, low sense, they all feel half-baked. I don't really understand what they even do. And they're so subtle that people started making rumors about them reducing buffer. The short op command is awful. It's so badly implemented. You can go to my movement guide to check more about that, and like my control guide, sorry. And the buffer guide. The short up command one is just fucking hideous. It's just such bad programming. If you use it with the C-stick at all, you know what I'm talking about. Hazards off. I think hazards off is so badly made. It basically makes our stage list way less interesting despite having that many stages. Because realistically, yes, you could go into the settings menu and turn hazards on or off at specific stages. But in tournament, people forget these things. If you don't think they would, then just check like Genesis 5, right? Like when Hungrybox let Plup go back to Pokemon twice, or any Dave Stupid Rule thing, or like people leaving pulse on, which is like would happen so often. I just think hazards on is so badly implemented, especially compared to how you can so easily swap to Omega. It would be so easy to just add another button to turn the hazards off. Yeah, or 0.9. Exactly. Maybe that's a coding problem, but either way, I really hate that hazards off feels more limiting than it should. Stage morph is absolutely awfully implemented. When the stage morphs, it basically disappears and you can fall straight through it if you're in hit lag. Yeah, I don't think stage morph should be illegal anyway, but it could have been a really fun casual mode that is now basically never played, because you will straight up just fall through the entire stage and die if you get hit while it's changing. Okay, grab nerfs. Grab nerfs are kind of weird because they feel really inconsistent. There's some problems when you try to, like, for example, with Chrom, you try to dash grab Rob and it just whiffs. But in general, I think grabs are extremely laggy, which I like. I actually like that grabs are nerfed overall. They're perhaps a bit too strong in every Smash game. However, I think they are very inconsistent in this game. Sometimes when you grab someone in the air, like they are in the air, but you try to grab them, it just outright whiffs. It feels like it has no aerial hitbox, which I really dislike. Like that, for example, right? Like it feels like the grab should hit. Some moves don't really make sense that they push super far away, and sometimes it will look like something is shield grabbable, and either they will be slightly out of range or they will go straight through you and clip to the other side. Now, I don't think shield grabs should be as good as they are in some games, but I wish it was more consistent. There's been so many times where I'm like, well, I know shield grabbing is weak, but why the fuck did that miss? And sometimes it's not even shield grab. I hate, for example, that with Snake and other characters, you can't grab into attack into grab. Many times you have to do grab, attack, attack, grab. And with Snake's down throw, you can't do down throw into re-grab tech chase. You have to end the combo really quickly with a dash grab. Yeah, and the grab nerfs out of shield also don't make that much sense when you can just nair out the shield even quicker than grab to begin with, because everyone has 3-frame jump squat, sorry. And a lot of characters have 3-frame nairs. Some characters have like frame 3 up Bs, I think. So I feel like it's a really half-measured nerf to shielding, and I wish they would just nerf the shield and add more shield stun rather than nerf shield grabbing. Actually, let's do Final Smash Meter before we go on. Final Smash Meter is just badly implemented. I think they said initially that it would be weaker, but I feel like the Final Smashes are still extremely overpowered. Final Smash Meter would be a really interesting experiment if you could make it so that like you could just tune the options, that like only get it when you hit someone, only get them when like you can do it like Clouds where you get them with both. You can do it like another option where you get them with time as well. Like customizability would be really, really nice, and I really wish that was in the game, because I think some Final Smashes could be really cool to use, but they are way too strong still. I don't feel like they're nerfed at all. And if they are, yeah, they need to be nerfed more essentially. And you could just add a modifier like knockback growth and just like take it, like, you know, decrease the damage multiplier on Final Smashes, just how you can add, like you can add handicap to an individual character. Okay, I think that's pretty much the first point. Okay, so 2 is ledge jumping and recovering, slash edge guarding, I guess. Right off the bat, 2 framing is a stupid concept. It does not feel satisfying to do it with many up Bs because of how well you can sweep up spot with them, where you can start the up B next to the edge and it will still auto snap. We'll show the most extreme one in Inkling. 2 framing is basically extremely luck based, because unless your opponent is an absolute moron that just does a B at the exact same timing every time, you're not going to get it consistently, or it's just going to be basically, they're just going to randomly mix up the time from this up B, or like, you know, falling slightly lower. But yeah, you can basically up B extremely close to the edge. I'm sorry if I'm bad at this. I'm playing through OBS. Yeah, you can up B there and it will still have a hitbox and it will still auto snap. Incredibly stupid in my opinion. And this up B is also kind of bugged that you can't 2-frame it at all. Now, if you don't know what 2-framing is, I'm sure someone will link a video in the comment section. It's a pretty stupid mechanic basically, where you can get hit on the first 2 frames where you grab the edge. I think it's only if you're grabbing it from below. And although some recoveries feel pretty consistently 2-frameable, not every character has good 2-frame moves, and I feel like that is something a lot of characters should have. And it doesn't feel interactive, it's not dynamic, it's not fun, it looks really weird when it happens, so it's not good for spectators either. Compared to reading someone's sweet spot in melee, like down tilting a sweet spot, it just feels really dull, really bad, and overall not really balanced around well. So trumping is now buffed, as in the person that gets trumped basically loses nothing. You can punish someone for trumping in some cases, but if you DI out, it's really hard, like as you get trumped, or control your air mobility out. It's not technically DI, but you get what I'm saying when I say DI. It's really hard to punish, and if you DI on stage, it's really hard to get a significant hit. If you do get a hit, it will usually be across the stage anyway, so they recover for free. And buffer makes this mechanic even worse, in my opinion. It's basically impossible to miss getting the stand up when both people grab the edge at the same time. All you need to do is hold a button, like hold jump, and even if both people grab the edge at the same time, you just get the jump as soon as possible. And yeah, it's with the fact that ledge jumping is buffered now, it's just incredibly hard to get anything significant of ledge jumping someone. With the fact that you can't edge hog, this essentially means that going low and up being is incredibly broken and very, very, very hard to stop for most characters, especially characters that do not have good recoveries at themselves, such as Marth, Chrom, Richter, and so on. Like, since a lot of up Bs have hitboxes now, like King K. Rool, Inkling, and so on, it's just really risky to even go off stage and try to stage spike them, because you might just get up B'd, get hit, and die. Like, the only thing you can really resort to is ledge trapping. Next up, ledge trap. I don't think ledge trapping is dynamic. I don't think it's fun. I don't think it's fun for spectators to see. It's really hard to understand. With how they buffed it now, it's essentially even harder to ledge trap, which I think is okay in its own. But this nerfs characters with bad recoveries even more, essentially. Because if ledge trapping was still strong, at least you could argue that, well, although you can't edge guard Inkling, at least you can ledge trap them. But ledge trapping now is incredibly hard. I am not good at it, but I still understand the mechanics behind it, and There's a great video over on Gimmer's Lab where you can see exactly how it was nerfed and what the buffs to, yeah, like getting up from the edge are. Basically, it's not fun to see someone stand up, get hit, recover low again, stand up, get hit, recover low again, stand up, get hit, and like most characters don't have a strong option to push someone off ledge jumping. So what basically happens is that you stand up, someone tickles you, you fall down, you take some more damage, and then eventually either you get up or you get hit by a similar attack or a random smash read, which ends up killing you. Compared to tech chasing or edge guarding in melee, and even Smash 64, this is boring, it's hard to understand, even like unbalanced in many ways because it makes people with good recoveries like even better in this game because of it being nerfed. I just don't like it. Some people will say, oh, Leffen, but ledge hogging is brain dead. And I'm not going to go sit here and preach about how ledge hogging is not brain dead in melee, because it certainly isn't. And anyone that knows anything about melee knows that edge guarding is extremely complicated in melee and really interactive. But let's just say that you get hit so far off, and I can grab the edge here with Inkling, and you cannot recover. In no fucking way is that brain dead anyway, because you got hit off the stage so hard that your only option was to grab the edge. You were that far off. That is far better than someone getting hit to the very fucking hourglass with only a B left and still making it back, in it being a huge risk to edge guard. When you get hit, you should be in a big disadvantage. That's what I believe. Even if that advantage is too big sometimes, I would rather have that than for it to be too small most of the time. And again, this is very character specific. Some characters are utterly dead if they get hit off stage in the ultimate. And that's where we get to our next point. But before that, let's talk about ledge invincibility. I don't really understand ledge invincibility, I'll give you that, but it feels really inconsistent. I read somewhere that you get more invincibility the longer you were in the air in between grabbing the edge. Re-grabbing the edge obviously gives you 0 invincibility, which I think is fine, but how long you have ledge invincibility when you first grab the edge, it feels extremely long and perhaps too long, making people just hang by the edge a long time, and it being kind of a high commitment to try to poke them while they're hanging there. Anyway, let's not talk too much about that because I'm honestly not informed enough to make a super educated decision. Basically, some recoveries are too good and some are utter shit, and it makes the game really inconsistent in terms of time length and stock wise. Inkling, for example, always gets back her side B every time you get hit. You can get an extra jump from Inkling side B, and you get this back every time you get hit. You can even wait longer before you do it, so you can't see they use side B, they will always jump at this timing. You can also control the jump from the side B, like forward or backwards. You also get back air dodging every time, so that further helps recoveries, because directional air dodging actually helps recoveries in many ways when you're not nerfs it, because you wouldn't air dodge twice anyway in most edge guarding scenarios where you already gotten hit. Yes, not being able to air dodge more than once nerfs juggling. I mean, it buffs juggling, but it does not, like, overall recovering with air dodge has actually been improved in this game. Yeah, Inkling sub B is way too good. It goes way too far. It has a hitbox both on launch and after. You can still tech during all of these. It's just some recoveries are just too good, simply put, and some recoveries are really, really bad, such as crumbs, where if you play a character with a counter, you basically have no option but to sweet spot super low, where the other opponent can react and simply down tilt you when you rise up. This means that stock length, and time length and stock count basically feels like you should have 5 or 4 stocks when you play Crom Ditto, but it feels like you should have 2 stocks when you play 2 characters with good recoveries, such as like Isabelle and Inkling and King K. Rool. I think this makes the game feel really inconsistent, and I definitely don't look forward to playing like any bad recovery matchup versus bad recovery matchup, because it's going to be like 2 hits that decides every stock. Okay, I think we're done with this point. Okay, the controls is the third point. So let's start off by saying that animation, sound are both great. I like the sound. It feels good when you move in this game. It looks good. The dash animations, the facial expressions are better than ever. The game is outright beautiful in many ways. The only gripe I have about this is that some stages are too busy in the background and can make themselves hard to look at. But in general, we have so many stages that shouldn't be too big of a problem. Okay, so dash dancing feels bad and is kind of bad. Now, dashing up into jab like is very, very good. Don't get me wrong. That's not what I'm trying to say. But the fact that you can only do the tiniest dash dance, this one, that is basically useless. And if you go any further, you get this. And even though press forward then back really quickly, it has so much buffer that it does it like 15 frames later. This makes it sometimes when you dash dance like this, it almost feels like you lose track of your characters because the inputs you do are so delayed that they don't actually match up what's on screen because of the insane buffer. We'll talk more about dash dancing in a sec, but yeah, let's just get to it. The buffer system, where you can do an action and then hold a button and it will start doing the other one right as soon as it can, which extends to like 45 frames, I believe. Or no, I think it's even more than 45 frames. The buffer system is subjectively bad. Some people like that you can just do a down throw and then hold an air to do it. I personally think it makes the game feel incredibly sluggish and removes a lot of the execution skill in a way that is not good, because sometimes, like let's say for this combo, you need to dash nair and that combo becomes hard, whereas if you just have to jump nair, this combo is brain dead. I think it is subjectively bad. I don't think you can really objectively say that having buffer by holding buttons is objectively bad. I certainly dislike that if I get hit by like a super weak attack, I will get a buffered directional air dodge because I pressed it like 2 seconds ago and die off stage. I don't like that. It feels like I'm not having full control of what I do. But it is also objectively bugged. If you do a buffered C-stick aerial, it will do nair because the C-stick is really badly implemented in this game. A lot of the time you'll get wrong shit out, and yeah. Regardless of if you think the buffer system is good or bad, which I think is terrible, you cannot disagree with the fact that it is bugged and should be fixed. And yeah, you still seem to have like 10-ish frame buffer on almost everything, much like Smash 4. That is just standard buffer. Say, if you F smash and hold, you would generally get a walk, right? If you hold the buffer, like just the hold buffer gives you a walk. But I can feel like I can still press early and it will dash way before it should be. So yeah, the dash buffer is still too big, and stuff like that just makes the feel game sluggish and hard to adapt to. Input lag, I think, is not the biggest deal of all time. It has 6 frames of input lag, which is twice as much as Melee, 2 frames more, I think, than Smash 4. Now, I don't think this is the biggest deal in the world, but along with all the other things, some of which we'll talk more about later, such as the online, it makes the game feel very, very weird to play. It just doesn't give you that responsive feel. The fact that you can't dash dance accurately certainly doesn't help, and basically, you can have input lag in a game, but when the input lag is not designed around, it makes things really wonky. So let's say I have like Tekken. Tekken has pretty much a lot of input lag, but a lot of moves are also slow startup in Tekken. In Smash, jabs are still 3 or 2 frames. Shield is still 1 frame. Spotter is still 3. 7 is still grab. They didn't really change the frame data at all to adjust for the added input lag, and that's what makes it feel so bad, I think. So yeah, we're not going to talk too much about that, but I hope they reduced input lag. They probably made the input lag to make it easier for the Switch to handle the good graphics, but I don't think the trade-off is worth it in the long run. Okay, I think we're almost done with this. Actually, the dash dancing. Yeah. So dash dancing, because you can no longer do a short dash, this makes characters really inconsistent in terms of how they can use dash. Whiff punishing is already hard in Ultimate because of aerials such as like having like 4 or 5 frame landing lag while having huge hitboxes. Combined with the fact that you cannot do accurate dash dances, basically only characters with a lot of range who can dash back and then do like roller, where you can cancel the dashes anytime. Like you can do a step back and then roller, right? Or say Marth, where you can step back and F smash and it will still reach the point where you were standing. Outside of those characters where you have a really good dash attack or a lot of range or a good side B, it's really hard to whiff punish. And whiff punishing is waiting for like a move, say this fair, and then dash again after. Basically, it's one of the most fundamental, most interesting interactions in fighting games. I do something, he moves out of it, he predicts it, and he punishes me for it. This makes this makes fighting games more interesting. It becomes a back and forth. It means that nothing is basically spammable because everything has an answer. Now, this is really hard for many characters because they don't have good dash attacks. Grabbing is insanely nerfed, as we already talked about. So dashing back and dashing in again with grab is basically a Hail Mary for many characters because of how wonky grab hitboxes are and how long lag they have. And so I think it basically means that aerial spamming has a bit too low a risk, and it doesn't have the natural answers that it has in, say, Melee, where you can dash, dance, grab aerials. Alright, so next up is 4. And this is perhaps my most hated thing. Only comparable with 0.5. And this is one of the main reasons why I am very, very resistant. Despite playing this game for 12 hours a day and liking it a lot, I am very hesitant to consider competing in Ultimate, because I know my heart will be broken multiple times. So basically, Nintendo does not really release patch notes. They do kind of, I guess, but functionally, they do not release real patch notes. Recently, with patch 1.2, they released a patch that said various gameplay changes, various balance changes, and then listed the characters. Now, most of the characters that were actually listed as having changes, we still don't know what they actually did, which is fucking insane. It's 2018, almost 2019. You should tell people what you change. It's honestly mind-boggling that they haven't. The general gameplay changes that they mentioned also removed a big mechanic for characters with items, which is C dropping during hit lag or hit stun. I'm not sure which one it was, but it was nonetheless a big mechanic for characters with items. Yeah, basically, they don't tell us what the fuck they change. And in a world where they even do it for ARMS, where they even do it for Splatoon, there's no reason why Smash, your biggest game, was sold 3 million in 11 days, cannot fucking get patch notes. It's unacceptable, and it should not be apologized for, even if we technically can find out what the patch notes are sometimes by data mining. It's simply unacceptable. Now, this gets even worse when you combine it with 0.2, which is bad timing. When they did the latest patch, for example, they said, oh, it happens sometime in the next week, and then it happened like 3 days later. Imagine if that happens for a major. Just think about it. It happened with Fortnite, where they, right before like 1 million tournament, just included some fucking sword. I don't even know the deals about it, but it basically fucked everything and made the tournament a fucking joke. And what if that happens for Genesis, right? Like it honestly makes sense to patch like in January. Everyone's practicing 12 hours a day for Genesis, and you know we'll do a patch next week, and then it just happens. Like we don't know. Like how do we make? Then we have to make the decision about to use the patch or not. If you make the decision not to use the patch, then people can't practice online for the tournament because you can only play online with the latest version. Basically, you need patch notes even more when the timing is going to be inconsistent, because at least then we could be like, how big are the changes? Okay, they're huge. Let's wait. Let's not use the new rule set. I mean, the new patch at Genesis. But because we don't know, we can't tell. It can take weeks before we actually find what they changed. And then you might look back at the tournament and see like, oh, that's why he lost. You know, it's so bad. It's really, really bad. Two of them together makes me like I already have anxiety, and I think most top gamers have when you go into a big tournament. There's a ton of pressure on you. If you lose in pools, people laugh at you. Adding that extra pressure of a patch being able to happen at any time and utterly destroy your main, really, really not acceptable in my opinion. Secondly, this is like kind of its own point. They always nerf and they always patch even the most harmless of tech. I have full faith that they will patch fast swapping and billy bouncing, as we call it, waveline, like instant landing on platforms with battlements. Basically, any type of tech is almost instantly patched out, and coming from a player that enjoyed Brawl, but you can just look at almost every character, such as Snake, Pokemon Trainer, it doesn't matter which character, almost all of them has had a lot of character-specific technology removed, and it makes every character kind of melt together into one blob, where you will just pick the best blob because everyone else is just grinded to the same kind of form to fit the same mold, because everything that is found is nerfed. And it also discourages people showing off tech online, talking about the game, because they're just gonna nerf it. So the always nerfing is also a big problem. Now, some people think, and they have hope for the fact that they will not only nerf for Ultimate. However, I have big doubts about that. And one of the reasons is, one, practicality. When you have 74 characters, look at this fucking roster, and it's going to be 76 come spring with Joker and Piranha Plant. If Inkling is too broken, and I think Inkling at some point at least deserves a recovery nerf, you have to buff every single character to make them able to compete with Inkling, or you nerf one character. Nintendo, with their lazy asses who can't even post patch notes, they are going to nerf one character. You can trust me on this. And hopefully they'll be a bit better and sometimes buff characters. But most likely in Ultimate, of all the 74 characters that exist right now, we are seeing the best versions of almost every single character. Almost everyone that is decently good that top players will play is going to get nerfed and become less fun as a result most of the time. This is even worse because historically they only nerf kill power, or they mostly nerf kill power. And when you play a character like Wolf, for example, Wolf is a great character, but he can't fucking kill unless you raw F smash or down smash them. And it basically killed the enjoyment of the character for me, because you have to literally only look for smashes once they're above 130. No other move will eventually kill except for like up to the 150, back throw at 160. Maybe they'll buff some characters. Hopefully they will do good buffs. But in general, I think they nerf too much. Now, I think what makes me extra scared of this is that they very recently have shown off the fact that they don't really look too close into characters. They just nerf them into the ground, and then maybe a year later kind of like slowly buff them up again, hopefully. If you take a look at Bayo, if you take a look at Cloud, if you take a look at Diddy, Sirius Samus, Sheik, they nerfed them so hard from Smash 4. So hard. Like, some people think Cloud is okay. I think Cloud is just outmatched by Marth right now. I feel like all these characters was kind of neutered, especially Bayo and Diddy, I think. Both of them simply cannot kill with almost anything but F Smash or a offstage aerial, while also nerfing a lot of their regular kits, such as the range on Diddy's Fair and Bayonetta's lag and staircase combos. Now, I think nerfing the staircase combos was fine with, say, Bayo, but I think in this game she would work a lot better because a lot of characters have good ground moves. Not only her side B is a good ground move, he gets a nerf by not being able to go through shields, and they would obviously just straight up remove the gimp off the top up B combos. However, they also nerfed her kill power, which doesn't make sense to me. Now, the only way you can realistically kill with Bayo is an F smash, at which time we're a backer off stage, or like an F throw at 180 at the edge, which is honestly extremely boring to play as, and most Bayo players are very likely switching. Diddy's the same thing, where the only real option he has now is banana into F smash or shield something into F smash. It's just, they just go too far. Bayo and Diddy are fine characters, especially in a game where they get arguably nerfed because of the system mechanics, right? And I just think that looking at those characters and how they just nerf them by reducing kill power and taking away mechanics, basically making them less unique, is very, very, very worrying for me, because it means that they still don't know how to actually design the characters. They just nerf them into the ground, make them not rewarding to play as and unfun to play as a result. Yeah, I think that's about it for 4. Like, obviously being able to play a character and know that it won't be destroyed next week is also nice. Okay, so this is the big one, and I think everyone already expected this, but it still needs to be brought up. It needs to be dissected, and it needs to be a constant topic, because this is something that is not fucking acceptable 2019, the online. So we'll go with this bit by bit. Just calm down. The online and Smash Bros. Ultimate is still the worst, in my opinion at least, for its time, it's the worst online/matchmaking I have ever seen by a AAA developer. And this is a AAA developer that sold in 11 days, 3 million copies. It's Nintendo. They are fucking loaded. They know everyone is going to play online. They know it. Don't fucking come to me and say Smash should be played offline. They know most people play Smash online as well, even if they play it offline too. It has no excuse being this bad. It is a main option on the main menu for a reason, and if it's there, it should be done properly. So the netcode is absolutely terrible. I don't want any of you guys try to say it feels fine. If it feels fine, then you don't understand what good netcode feels like. You don't know the difference. That is the only way you can say that most matches feel fine. Because a lot of people have Wi-Fi still, because the Switch doesn't support Ethernet out of the box, and that is always going to be a problem, especially when Nintendo sells the adapters for $50 a pop, even though you can find a similar adapter with the same chipset that works on a Switch for far less. Even when I play with Psych, and you can check this on the stream a couple days ago, I think 2 days ago, I played with him on stream, right? And we had 1 or 2 ping in Melee. Now, for those that don't know, that is 1/8 or 1/16 of a frame. 1/16 of a frame. And when we played online, both of us using Ethernet, it felt like we had 2 to 3 frames of extra lag. Now, I think this is because, I don't know, like, this has to just be the netcode. I've played with so many people that I can play with Dragon Ball, which doesn't even have good online, mind you. Still has delay code. Playing people that I know have good internet and are close to me, I'll see their name in ranked, and it will just lag so much. And added with the input lag and the buffer, it just becomes incredibly bad of an experience. Yeah, it's not okay. It's not even close to okay. The netcode, that is. Yes, sometimes you will have matches and sometimes you'll adjust to it. But even when you just play a match, then you wait the 1 minute plus you have to wait in between matches, because apparently fast rematching isn't something a billion-dollar company can do. You play in the offline waiting lobby, right? And you instantly notice that it's no longer lagging. So if I move in between matches, every time the match starts again, I have to readjust to the terrible lag. Matchmaking and GSP are fucking jokes. They are not acceptable, and they need to be changed. Matchmaking still puts me with people that are 2 stocks on. It still puts me with people that have items on, and this is someone that is high ranked in Elite with every character, by the way. No custom rule sets, basically only allowing you to pick FD or Battlefield, means that despite having maybe like 24 playable stages that, you know, maybe you wouldn't play all of them in tournament, but you can very easily play like Halberd in an online match. They're basically not even playable because you can't select them. You can only play them if you play Battle Arena, which has its own problems. We'll get to Battle Arena. Yeah, you can only play Battlefield or FD online, and it's just awful. It's just absolutely awful. You can't play Squad Struck online. You can't play so many good things online, and it boggles my mind that you still run into free-for-alls and people with completely different rule sets to you. Secondly, GSP is an awful, or Global Smash Power is an awful ranking system. I will try to show it to you, but yeah, basically it's made, like, it's very easy to understand why it's made. It's made so that Jimmy and Joey that get the game on Christmas, they will go online and they'll see a high number despite being terrible. And Sakurai thinks that this protects them. He thinks, great, now they won't be sad when they have a low rank. Because it will be a big number despite the fact that they're terrible at the game. Now, this is a very, very easy solution. And that solution is to have a ranking inside of Elite Smash. It's so simple, it boggles my fucking mind that they haven't put it. So, all you need to do is that once you get into Elite Smash, it will put a number on you. And it will make it so that you have a ranking. You can have character-specific rankings, and you can have roster rankings. It would be great to be incentivized to play your entire roster to try to get the number 1 roster rank. Basically, GSP only ranks how many people that are currently online you are better than. And so this number will also change every time someone new starts playing the fucking game online. So it's not even consistent. But even if it was consistent, it's still incredibly hard to read. So we can just look at 2 different characters. Now, if I compare my Cloud to my Pokemon trainer, you can see them both there, right? My Cloud's terrible. My Pokemon trainer is probably my best character. Now, the number doesn't even look that different. And even more if I go to to find a character with 6-6. Yeah, like this. See, even now, my Pokemon trainer is almost 550 ranks above my Palutena, right? But it's very, very, very hard. No, wait. With an 8 there. Okay, I'm sorry, the screen's small. 2,550 ranks in between. And it's really fucking hard to see, as you could just say. How do I fucking know that? I have to look at the very end of the numbers and subtract. And then you have to... Wait, it's 1,500? I'm sorry. Fuck. This is still proving my fucking point. Jimmy and Joey, they don't know math. And apparently I don't either. But yeah. How do you go into someone else's chat? I have to go into their chat and be like, what's your GSP right now? Because in a few minutes it will change. I really, really hate it. It doesn't give you an accurate description. Yes, it makes you, like feel, oh, I have 1,000,000 in numbers. I am good. But it also hurts everyone that cares the most about the game, the people that play it every day online. And so I think it would very easily be mitigated if you just had a ranking in Elite Smash. Please implement that. And also the fact that it's affected by when you play free for all is a fucking joke. Oh yeah, you can't also tell when you reach Elite. So a common question in every Twitch chat is, what's Elite right now, by the way? And that's also just terrible. Okay, so basically this is something a lot of fighting games, and we already talked about the no squads, right? This is a problem a lot of fighting games have, but basically there's no reward almost at all to play online. Yes, you'll get some GSP, but you won't see any progression because the GSP is so broken as a system that you can't really notice if you're getting better or not. The best thing you get, I guess, is smash tags. I don't even fucking know where they are. Where the fuck are the smash tags? Records? Oh, okay. Smash tags, yeah. Like, what the fuck do you do with these? Like, okay, I can sell these. But, like, this doesn't do anything really. It's not a proper incentive at all. I really wish they would have some kind of reward system, maybe even a daily, like splash screen, like, oh, play online 10 now and you'll get a spirit today. Do something like that, right? It's with how much fluff there is in this game with spirits, music, and everything else, it's very easy to have some kind of better reward system for playing online. There is tiny reward, but I don't think it qualifies as enough reward, basically. No squads working online, we already talked about that. Okay, so battle arenas. Battle arenas suck. They are generally a bit better of an experience than playing quick play, but they're still terrible. If you have ever played another kind of lobby system from any other fighting game, you know what I'm talking about. Let's say I have 8 people. I think the game itself told me, but I'm pretty sure that it lags more the more people you have in me. Someone can probably confirm this in ranked. I mean, in chat, not ranked, what the fuck? In chat or in the comments, but I think Nintendo, like in the game, tell you that if you have too many people while making a battle arena, it will be more unstable. And from my own experience, while playing battle arena with 3 people in them and 8 people in them, there has been a massive difference playing the same opponents. Yeah, so battle arena suck, and you can also not really, what does it tell you? I know it told me once, but it feels like it's not here. If you're experiencing connection errors during arena or spectating, try decreasing max players allowed. Using a wired internet connection will also help to increase network stability. What the fuck? How the fuck do the fucking spectators affect your delay? That never happens in other fighting games. You can also only play one match at the same time when you play Battle Arena. So if you're 8 people, you can only have one match going on at the same time. It's so bad. And yeah, it still takes a really long time to go from one match into the next match. If you kick someone in the Battle Arena, they can just instantly rejoin. This has happened multiple times on stream. It's really, really bad. Yeah, so this is most of a quick play, but no way to check a connection with someone, see what country they're from, and decline. I can understand this for ranked, but at least for Battle Arena, we should be able to see if the person we're playing is lagging or not. It also does not show in-game how much frame delay it has. Why does this affect it so much? Well, basically, because of the huge buffer in the game, a lot of input lag, and the buffer system, a lot of the time, you won't actually do something that actually requires a pure reaction until very late into the match. Let's say someone whiffs a laggy up B, and you have to see which side it lands on, and then F smash in the right direction. And now, until that point, you might have been doing a buffer dash, a buffer jump, a buffer aerial, and so you never actually had to feel the difference, and feeling the difference is still really fucking hard of how many frames delay it actually is. Now, if they displayed a frame counter, like 3 frame delay, like most games do, then you could just check that and kind of, okay, you know, like I have to act earlier, but, you know, not 10 seconds earlier. I think the reason why they don't show the frame delay is, again, so that Jimmy and Joey won't realize how fucking awful the online is, and instead they will tell Daddy Leffen to shut up about the online because it couldn't possibly be laggy, because they can't understand it when they see huge lag spike for 1 frame on my stream. Yeah, you also can't, like, some games have it so that you can see if they have Ethernet or wired. I mean, Ethernet or Wi-Fi side. And that would also be a great, you know, thing to add. And some games even have that you can input your own input delay. So it might spike, but it might be low, but you can have a smoother connection. Or maybe you opt for a higher frame count, but, you know, it'll be more consistent. You should at least be able to see the 5-bar method if you have 0 bars for someone, 1 bar for 2 bars, and all the way up to 5 bars. That should be the very minimum fucking requirement for an online mode, especially a fighting game. And this is essentially the death sentence for my ultimate career. I live in a region with not too strong ultimate players, and if I want ultimate practice, like Dragon Ball practice, I need to play online. Now, the online wasn't good in Dragon Ball, but it was playable. Online for practicing ultimate is honestly not fucking playable. It is usable, but in many cases it doesn't feel like I'm playing with someone I'm playing online. If they even have a slightly not perfect connection, it basically feels like I'm just playing in the general direction of Armada, not actually playing with Armada. I'm just like, you know, that guy over there, I'm gonna try to hit this guy over there. Oh wow, it missed. Wow, well, you know, I'll try over, you know, like it doesn't feel like I'm playing with him because of how laggy it is. And the buffer system and the input lag just add up to this, and it feels incredibly bad to practice online. And every time I play offline and then go over to online, I just get the sick feeling in my stomach because it feels so bad to play half the cast on low lag. Anyway, I think that's mostly it. Again, if you've been this far, let me know what you think. I want to keep this a discussion. I want people to be vocal about what they think. I don't think this is a bad game. I think this game has so much fucking potential. Please don't see this as just me whining. Another video on the 5 best things will come out, but the reason why I bring these up is because I truly think that if any time we can make Nintendo change their old ways and hopefully give us a better game for everyone,